from the Ravinia Festival in Highland Park, a night of musical excitement. Christoph Eschenbach conducts the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. We'll hear La Valse by Maurice Ravel. And the world premiere of bluegrass fiddle sensation Mark O'Connor's Double Violin Concerto, featuring Mark O'Connor and fiery international violinist Nadja Salerno-Sonnenberg. On Ravinia, Under the Stars. On this program, Ravinia Festival music director Christoph Eschenbach leads the orchestra in a new work by Mark O'Connor, his Double Violin Concerto, featuring O'Connor and violinist Nadja Salerno-Sonnenberg. O'Connor.
Well, this is the world premiere of the Double Violin Concerto for two violins. And we're actually figuring out how to play together too. You know, stylistically, coming together for one piece is a big maneuver. It's a big converging of the worlds of music, really.
Yeah, it really is.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
First of all, it's great to work with Mark O'Connor, the composer, as a soloist.
Time to swing. It's time to swing.
He's a great violinist, and it's so much fun to do it with both of them, Nadja and Mark, and the piece is great. I mean, it's just fun for us all, you know. It's a swinging atmosphere, and it's very highly virtuosic and interesting, and so we are all very excited.
This piece is my third concerto, and the first two concertos I used heavily my folk influences from the fiddling, old-time fiddling traditions. My teachers and mentors, the great old-time fiddler Benny Thomason from Texas, and the great jazz man from Paris, Stefan Grappelli. They were my big violin influences, and I worked hand in hand with them. This piece, I wanted to explore more the jazz, swing, and blues side of my background.
It's talking to a few of the members of the Chicago Symphony, and they'll look on their page, especially like in the brass and something, and there'll be a jazz lick in there, and they just don't know what, you know, they get all, this greatest orchestra in the world, and they go, oh, geez, I got to practice this bar, you know, it's just like, do-do-do-do-do, and they have to work on that. Well, for me, it's very unusual. I mean, the whole piece is unusual. It's a departure for me, and it's a lot of fun. Changing the way that you play, a lot of bow strokes and the slides are all, nothing is, you know, coming from the classical school, you know, and it's a great sense of freedom. I've never played a passage where I'm doing, you know, something with another violinist and a jazz bass pitzing, you know, it's very, the whole thing is just fun.
When I started composing, I had Nadja in mind from the very beginning. I didn't know if I would ever get to play with her, but just her inspiration, her beautiful music making, her willingness to try new things inspires someone like me.
1, 2, 3.
It's very interesting because they both have a different style of playing, but it matches very well. And there are two characters competing with each other on a highest level in two different personal styles.
With this music, it becomes each of ours in a different way. When you have as strong of a voice as Nadja has on this instrument, I mean, she takes what I've, you know, made up and makes it hers almost right from the very beginning. So it's really gratifying for me to stand and watch it actually, you know, take shape and her become this music too.
But I'm not trying that. I'm trying to sound like you.
I know.
Like, don't do that.
Well, it is a meeting because, you know, then there'll be times where I don't like the way I used to play this. I want to play it more like Nadja. So we're reaching towards each other in that way.
I think a great example of that is the cadenza in the first movement. Each one of us has 8-bar solos. and they're very different. And then they are 4-bar solos, and at that point starting to get a little more, you know, we're like at opposite ends of the spectrum, and then we're getting closer. And then by the time it gets to the 2-bar solos each, and then we're playing together at the end of the cadenza, it's kind of a melding of the styles, and that we agree finally. There's détente there, you know.
We bounce things back and forth. Nadja playing written music, I'm playing improvising, almost kind of responding to Nadja's performance, but that will change every single time we play it. It's like it becomes a work in progress every time we attack one of these cadenzas.
I can only imagine after 10 performances of this what those cadenzas are going to, they're going to be out of control. There's something, somebody's going to fall down or something.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. Up until about 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more, I think I could very easily be classified as a classical violinist, and that's all I played. And you know, I played it in my sense, in my style, but that's. And I started to branch out and do different kinds of projects that interested me, and it's so gratifying for me to take these departures from the meat and potato stuff that I've been doing my whole life, and I will always do. And also doing this and then going back to playing Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, it's a brand new piece for me, you know, and it's like a present, a real present to come back to it, and can't wait to play it again because now you're going to bring something new into it. Well, I think the violin, in first place, virtue of the instrument itself, can make an enormous amount of sounds and an incredible variety. I have always been a big fan of using a great variety of sounds, regardless of the repertoire I'm playing. I just don't see any logic in playing the same sound for the entire piece. But that's not necessarily how a lot of classical violinists are trained. So I'm a little bit rebellious in that way.
I was actually inspired to play the violin because of the variety of sounds it made. And I don't know if I would be drawn to the instrument as much if it only made like one classic sound. Like I was amazed at how, you know, mournful it could sound, or how bright, how could, you know, the stroke of a bow, it could sound like a happy dance, and then once again you're playing the most sentimental mood. And what's interesting about it is that it's the same piece of wood. I mean, you know, you're not doing anything to it to alter it in any way. And so I really appreciate that about Nadja. I like to hear Nadja's voice, for instance, and I try to do the same in my own way.